Hello, Internet, and thank you for joining me today. So, it has been, whoo boy, a minute since I have uploaded a video or anything. I've thought a lot about uploading a video, but unfortunately for me and anyone who is a fan of this channel, I have just been insanely busy. So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and fart out another one of these videos where I just look at Letterboxd and talk about the movies that I have been keeping up with. And the first movie that I'm actually going to talk about today is Lee Cronin's The Mummy. What's interesting is that I've seen a lot of different mummy movies in my life. Of course, the Brendan Fraser one is going to be my favorite because I grew up with that one. It's awesome. Everyone should watch it. And the sequel. And the third one just doesn't fucking exist. The one with Tom Cruise sucks. And there's a bunch of other really, really bad ones out there. But this one is not a mummy movie. I'm not going to lie. I was excited when I first saw this. The first time I heard anything about it was actually a poster that was up in the theater. I was going to see something else and I saw this and I was like, yeah, definitely going to watch that like as soon as it comes out. I am 100% on board. I have not kept up with Lee Cronin all that much. I know he has done obviously the Evil Dead movie that he did, but I haven't seen any of his other stuff. So I wasn't necessarily excited for him to be doing a mummy movie, but I like mummy movies, in general. Like Boris Karloff was cool, all that jazz, right? So I went into this with an open mind, and then when I walked out, I ended up watching a bunch of different other YouTube reviewers that had all talked about this being almost identical to Evil Dead Rise, and they're not wrong about that. It's not that this movie differentiates itself a ton from that. I just really couldn't get into this movie as much as I would want to. It's mostly just boring. And I hate to say that because talking about a boring movie is almost impossible, right? But it just left me feeling nothing at the end of it. And I couldn't get into it at all. And the biggest problem that the movie actually has, from what I remember, because I didn't take any notes on it, like I said, I've been insanely busy. I've been watching most of these movies like either really late at night or while I'm doing 3 other things at the same time. So you'll have to, bear with me. But I did devote enough time to this to know that I didn't enjoy it. And I would say the biggest problem is that it doesn't have enough to do with a mummy. Like, it's more a possession movie. It's like they took The Exorcist, added The Evil Dead, but then called it The Mummy. And I couldn't escape that throughout the entire runtime. It's not really worth your time unless you are just a diehard Lee Cronin fan or you just love Splatterhouse type movies, because there's a lot of gore in the movie. Like, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that there's a lot of gore, but there's a lot of effects that are meant to imply gore and really kind of gross out horror, which just isn't my thing. I don't know that I wasted my time, but I am not going to be revisiting this anytime soon. But moving along here, the next movie I want to talk about is the most recent movie to come out, which is actually this documentary called The Crash. It was a viral story back like 2-3 years ago. Girl crashes her car, kills her boyfriend and his friend, and there's this long, line of things that lead everyone to believe that she has done this intentionally. And the problem with exploring a documentary like this in a YouTube channel like mine is there's really nothing to review that isn't just telling you what happens in the doc, like all of that. But I can critique it on the basis of there are two distinct camps in this doc, and that those camps are she is a girl that is the sweetest thing ever, and she just had a run of bad luck, and everything was an accident. Nothing is her fault. And then you have the other camp that basically paints this picture of an overprivileged teenage girl that was very pretty, and everyone gave her everything because she was pretty, and so she became this really narcissistic asshole about everything, and she 100% did it on purpose just because she's an asshole. Because, I mean, one thing that I don't hear anyone else talking that much about, because they do talk about it in the doc that, you know, the relationship that she had with her boyfriend was pretty rocky. You know, she was doing some crazy white girl things, like trying to break into his house. She was like threatening to hurt him. She was threatening to hurt herself, things like that, right? But they don't really get in depth with what their relationship was like. And I think it's because, you know, she was 17 when this all happened, which it's super weird. Her parents weirded me out the whole time while I was watching this doc. And because, like, you just let your 16, 17-year-old daughter move in with an 18, 19-year-old dude that already has his own place, which, like, good on him, right? I mean, I don't know where they live in Ohio. I didn't pay that close attention, and I don't know what the rent looks like there. But even in 2022, they weren't just handing apartments out, right? So he had to be doing something right to get his own apartment, his own place. It's discussed that he was fairly comfortable living. He made a comfortable living for himself, but I just couldn't shake the feeling that, like, we were not getting any kind of a characterization of their relationship to make her want to kill him. Like, there was no smoking gun, like, oh man, you know, she hit him, or oh man, he hit her. There was never anything like that. Like, all her friends and stuff were talking about, oh, you know, he was the love of her life, and blah, blah, blah. Like, all these things. And the doc was just kind of repetitive and didn't dig as deep as you would think, which I think they were trying to take advantage of the viral nature of this. And unfortunately, it's too soon to really dig deep into, like, the facts, because, you know, nothing has come to light. We haven't had time for people to come forward with, you know, bombshells, like blah, 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 blah. You know, stuff that you hear about, like, oh, well, I was neighbors with Jeffrey Dahmer or some shit, you know, like, we haven't had any of that in this case. And so we don't have any of it in the documentary, obviously. And then on the other hand, it's too late for it to be, like, hot off the presses. And so this doc falls into this weird valley of being interesting. I mean, it's a cool case. I didn't know that you could basically black box my car and know exactly when I'm accelerating. I have to imagine that somebody would find my history fairly boring, as I forget that I have fucking cruise control. But yeah, I mean, overall, the doc is just kind of repetitive and doesn't give me everything I want out of it. But, you know, it came up on Letterboxd when I was pulling all these up, so I thought I'd mention that I watched it and that it's kind of okay, kind of boring. It's not all that disturbing. It's not gonna make you think twice about it, but it's okay. Not a waste of your time. One of the other films I have seen recently is Oddity, and the reason that I watched this is because Hokum has been blowing up everywhere, and Oddity is on Disney Plus, so I don't have to go to a theater to watch it. And the one copy that I found of Hokum that I could stream had a bunch of people talking in the background, so I had to quit it like 15 minutes into it. So instead, I just watched Oddity, which is on a legal streaming service. And I am very interested now in the career of this man, Damian McCarthy. I hear a lot of people talking about Hokum and him in relation to that. And I've heard that his other movies are very good for this, and Oddity is very indicative of his other work, which, if that's the case, that means that good things are ahead for me. As I continue to explore his filmography later on throughout this year, I might do something in October with like a creator spotlight or a director spotlight or something, but we'll see how all of that goes. But Oddity is this movie about this doctor in the Irish countryside-ish. Like, it's a town, but it's not like a huge town. It's not a city. It's not like, you know, some rural little village. And it's all about him and his new girlfriend living in this place. And then his dead wife's sister comes to hang out with him and basically accuse him of murdering her, which, you know, I'll let it play from there if you haven't seen this movie, because it is very interesting. I thought the performances were amazing. I thought the script has this way of just being very present at all times, which, when I said that out loud, I nearly douched out of my own skin. But it seriously is just constantly building this atmosphere in this world, even though the number of locations is like 3. They shot this whole movie in like 3 or 4 different rooms with like one outdoor scene. And it kind of even feels like they could have shot this over the course of like 7 days or something, because they did such a good job. It is seamless between shots as far as like transitioning from room to room, and it all feels so natural, and everyone is just living a life, and these characters are just kind of jumping off the page, or in this case the screen, at you. It's extremely well done. I would recommend this to any horror fan, honestly, and it makes me excited for Hokum. It makes me excited for the other films of his that I haven't watched yet. Another movie that I watched along the same lines, in the same horror vein, is Send Help, which, oh boy, Sam Raimi, you and I just don't always hit on the same wavelength, I feel like. Like, this is an extremely Sam Raimi movie, which would lead you to believe that I really liked it, because I actually really like Sam Raimi movies. The Evil Dead franchise is some of the best, like, old school indie horror that you will ever see. And his take on Spider-Man, I think Spider-Man 2 might be one of my top, if it's not the top superhero movie that I've ever seen, it's definitely up there in the top 5. So when I say Send Help was not my cup of tea, I need you to understand how hard that is for me to say. What is crazy in that same vein is that, like, Rachel McAdams, I think, is a fantastic actor. I think this guy, Dylan O'Brien, I don't know what else he's done, but I think that he gave a very good performance. I think that all of the effects were well done. I think that all of the script was okay. You know, it's okay enough. A good director and good actors would have made this script amazing. I think it would have been awesome. But I think it might be that Rachel McAdams, like my biggest problem, I should say, is that Rachel McAdams just does not give me crazy enough. Like, they really needed her to go up to, she needed to go past 11 to make this character work. And also, she is so naturally beautiful to me that I don't care what she's eating. I don't care what her apartment looks like or what weird, odd hobbies she has. She is 100% too hot to be the, oh, I'm the weak little mouse secretary character. Like, she can't embody that. You are telling me this. She's selling it to me with her performance, but her face betrays her. Like, the makeup department needed to do something to her. Like, hit her in the face with a fucking board full of nails. Because, like, there's no way that she's this soft-spoken, understated, kind of quiet secretary type. She's Rachel fucking McAdams, okay? She's hot. She is 100% the first girl that's getting picked up at the bar. Like, no, you're not selling me on that Hollywood Sam Raimi. So, as much as she tries, and she does really sell the survivalist angle of it, but it's like, there was no way for her to overcome what she naturally is. And so because of that, I really couldn't get past it the whole movie because it just kept taking me out. Like, she would have a look on her face and I would be like, oh, she's trying to act crazy, but she's still very attractive. And I couldn't get past that. So, like, sue me. I did not bond with this one. It's honestly like Drag Me to Hell. Drag Me to Hell is another movie that I can appreciate all of its technical amazingness. Sorry, ADHD here, but I can't think of the word that I want to think of when I'm describing everything that Drag Me to Hell does right. I can look at it and I can say, this is a passion project done by a talented director with a talented cast that are all giving their best with great effects, and I still don't like it. And that's just me, more so than the movie. That's me. That was disgusting, but I'm keeping that one in because I'm sick of pausing this recording to burp or cough or whatever. I'm just going with it. I'm even going to keep the chair squeak at this point because send help, you didn't do it for me. That's you made me give up on my own video halfway through it. That's how much you confused me and made me mad. Now, one thing, okay, let's shift major gears here. All right, the drama, okay? I heard a bunch of people talking about this online, and I had a friend recommend it to me, and I was very much not disappointed. And I am going to betray almost everything I've ever said about Zendaya here when I say this was her movie. All right. She has always been the whiny teenager to me. Like, that first performance as MJ in the first Spider-Man movie. That was like the first time I really saw her. Told you I'm keeping the coughs in. We're moving on. Anyway, she has always played that character to me. This disillusioned, oh, I'm done with everything, but I'm really just whiny teenager role has always just been her bread and butter. Whether she's pissing me off as Chani in the second Dune movie, or she's underwhelming me as Chani in the first Dune movie, or she's underwhelming me as MJ in Spider-Man movies. She has just always played the same character. This is the first time that I have seen a performance of Zendaya and thought, oh, she can act. Like, this girl does have a range. And that's refreshing. It is cool that I can see this. The unfortunate thing is that no one else is going to fucking see this. This movie is going to fly under everyone's radar just because it's a tough subject matter. I mean, you have an engaged couple that is going to fight right before and right after their wedding, and it's all just two people bickering after being in a relationship for a while. Like, who wants to go watch that? Hey, that's a great date night movie. Let's go watch two other people argue instead of us arguing with each other. Which, I'm not going to spoil what it is. I do think that I will circle back around to rewatching this movie a couple more times and then trying to do a full like breakdown style video, because there is a lot to like about this movie. I think that this might be one of the best movies I've seen this year, which, you know, given that most of the time I either want to give it to a Godzilla movie or a superhero movie, that's saying something. Keeping coughs. But yeah, honestly, the performances in this carry it so far, and the direction is actually just so great. Like, the way that information is dispersed is amazing. Like, okay, I haven't done my review of, let me real quick. I'm doing this like a stream now. I'm changing on the fly here. Okay, so I have not made a review of The Housemaid for a very good reason. I want to bundle it in with this and another movie we can talk about here in a second. But yeah, this movie pissed me off because the pacing is horrific. Horrific pacing. Like, I was honestly with it. I was there. I was okay with this movie. I was like, all right, this isn't doing anything crazy. I can kind of see where things are going for the first 45 minutes. But then the movie stops itself fucking dead right at the climax. Like, right when I feel like the movie should be ending, it fucking stops. And then it's like, oh, but you didn't have this context. And it goes back years in some cases to describe somebody's backstory, and then it's like, oh, hey, we're in the present again, but then I'm gonna just do a little bit in the present before I stop the movie dead a second time to jump to this character's backstory and give you context for this. And it's like, this is horrific pacing. The pacing kills this movie, and this movie has Sydney Sweeney tits. I should have loved this movie, but alas, I cannot, because I am too distracted by all of the fucking directorial bullshit that Paul Feig is doing. So yeah, I fucking hated this movie. But ironically, going back to the drama here, yeah, the drama was the one that had the best pacing, that gives you the information you need for the scene you're in, and the scenes build on each other. Even when they're exposition scenes, they are building not only maybe a previous scene and giving you context for that, but also setting up a new scene. So they don't stop the movie dead to tell me a 15-minute long trauma dump about how Sydney Sweeney came to live in her fucking car. No, I get to hear about Zendaya's trauma dump right at the moment I need to, right before something new happens. A new thing actually happens after the scene that sets it up. What a shock. And like, I hate making this sound like it's, damning with fine praise, because this movie is actually really good. But it's such a basic thing, but it can be done so wrong. But anyway, everyone needs to go out and watch the drama when it comes out on streaming. I'm sure it's coming to like, I don't fucking know, probably like HBO Max or something, which is probably going to become, what is it, Paramount at this point? I don't know. I think I have a bet on like Kalshi or something that it's going to Paramount instead of Netflix or whatever. But anyway, yeah, it'll come out and people will like it. I think this one actually is worth your time to watch. So everyone watch this. Another movie I saw was Michael, and this is one that I haven't rated on Letterboxd. Ooh, that's how recently I watched it. Anyway, it's hard to say because you probably already have a formed opinion on this movie. You have probably already seen a review on this movie specifically, and I would tell you, whatever reviewer you saw, I agree with that one, because this movie is both the best of what biopics can be and the worst of what biopics can be. Because while it does do a lot to actually setting a stage with a real life person and setting up their life in a dramatic story which is worth telling, it also glazes the fuck out of this man. It overlooks a lot of flaws. It had to be done with the Jackson Estate's blessing because it has licensed music, and it does commit cardinal sins like having, God, I think this is like a 2-hour movie. Does it tell me on Letterboxd? Let's take a look. Yeah, whatever. Oh wait, no, there it is. Yeah, 128 minutes. So, yeah, it's 2 hours, but about, let's just ballpark it and say 25 minutes of that is just Michael Jackson music, which Michael Jackson music is great. Keeping coughs. But, like, I don't want to buy a movie theater ticket to go listen to the music and see recreations of, stage performances and shit that I could just look up on YouTube. I want you to show me like a story, which it does do. There's a satisfying story there, but also like I can't help but know that like, oh, hey, this is where this is actually happening off screen, which I'm not talking about the later court case stuff. Let's say, I don't know what I can say on YouTube because YouTube doesn't even like my channel. I have 20 subscribers at this point, so, I am the smallest fish, so I got to be kind of careful about what I say. But yeah, they avoid a lot of things that are supposedly happening, which I don't believe those things happened. There's a lot of evidence when you actually look into this person in real life on what he did, and didn't do. But, the movie itself as a biopic was fine to watch. It was fun to watch. It just isn't 100% real to life, which you can't say that any biopic at this point is 100% real life. Everything's going to either make them out to be more brutal than they were or less brutal than they were. But this is definitely worth seeing. Don't feel like I wasted my time saying it. Moving on, though. This one. Initially, I kind of wanted to just, get my baseball bat out and break this movie's knees, because this is such a nothing movie. And here's going to be the problem. The problem is that there are two types of movie that Illumination makes. There is Despicable Me, and there's the Minions. They make no other movies. I know people might say, oh, there's The Secret Life of Pets, there's Sings, blah, 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 blah. No, Illumination makes either Despicable Me, which is kind of this middle of the road, very safe, but okay enough standard movie that you can, take your kids to. It'll distract them for a couple hours. Cool. Or they make trash like the Minions, which is just visual fucking noise for 90 minutes. The first Super Mario movie was Despicable Me. I thought it was fine. It wasn't amazing, but it kind of didn't have to be. It just had to be good enough. They had to have enough Mario to make it work. This is fucking Minions. The Super Mario Galaxy movie is Minions. I'll say it a third time. The Super Mario Galaxy movie is Minions. Nothing happens in this movie. No one goes on any adventures. No one goes on any kind of an arc. Everyone is the same character as when they started. Like, even when you try to gaslight yourself into thinking that, oh, hey, Bowser changed over time, he learned to be a good dad. No, we see all the good dad parts as like flashbacks. Those are flashback scenes. He was already doing the good dad thing. And you were like, oh, well, he changed. He flip-flopped back and forth between really liking Mario and really hating him. Well, he did that the whole movie, and there's no consistency. The next movie that they make, because this thing made $10 squillion, that next movie, he's going to do the same thing. Because why change what works? And, here is why I ultimately decided not to make a review of this and just kind of shove it in here. It's because inevitably, if I made this as its own review, some asshole would go down into the comments and talk about how, oh, well, it's just a kid's movie. It doesn't have to be deep. To which I would tell that person to get out of my comments unless they're going to tell me what paste pairs well with the purple crayons. I don't care about that opinion. That's not a thing. If you're going to tell me that children's media doesn't matter, it's not intended for me as a 30-something-year-old man. It's meant for, 5-year-olds to shut the fuck up for 5 minutes. Well, I would say, why do you hate that 5-year-old child? I don't even like kids that much, but I like them more than the Super Mario Galaxy movie does, because I want them to have good movies. I want them to have things like The Lion King. I think that the movies that they consume, the entertainment that they enjoy, can challenge them and be more than just, visual noise and nonsense that just is plopped in front of them and they never have to think about. Stuff kind of like Hoppers. Yeah, I saw Hoppers too. Which, anybody that's going to try to tell you that this is the best thing that Pixar has made in years, they're not lying to you, but that is a very, very loaded statement. Hoppers is the best thing that Pixar has made because Pixar has been leaking out things that are either bad or just mediocre. Last year, Elio. Elio was bad. What am I thinking before that? What movie came out before this? I'm actually going to pause the video. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I'm doing a jump cut because fuck it. I guess I'm just being really lazy. But yeah, so when they say that Pixar is going to, that Hoppers is the best Pixar movie in years, they're comparing it against things like Elio, Inside Out 2, Elemental, fucking Lightyear. We're not talking about A-list Pixar movies. These are, the best one out of this bunch is Inside Out 2, and that is a B Pixar movie. if there was ever a B Pixar movie. Like Turning Red, Luca, which Luca is, it's high B, okay? Everyone's too mean to Luca. Soul just got away from him. But this is a review for Hoppers and why it's better than the Super Mario movie, because it actually has thoughts and it has characters that have arcs. Like, they don't even have a two-dimensional Jeff Bezos like bad guy. I was really expecting the mayor, I think it is, in the movie, because he's all obsessed with building this highway project over the top of the pond that the main character girl is obsessed with. And I was expecting him to just be like an evil dude, right? Like, he's just going to be, this money grubbing suit, essentially, which, they could have done, but they chose not to. They chose to give him character. They chose to make him an actual person. He talks about, like, hey, roads are important. Roads get people where they need to go. And, there's all these things. We're trying to be as nice as possible to the animals, by driving them out with a loud noise, as opposed to, like, I don't know, fumigating them or killing them, or just, tearing the place up and letting them die. Like, yeah, it's not the best, it's not the best solution that he could have come up with, but they give him more to do than just be a bad guy. And I thought that was way better than anything that was in the Mario movie. All right. And Hoppers, 100%. I would recommend people watch it when it comes out on Disney Plus. Apparently this thing did absolutely terrible in the theaters, which isn't fair. I mean, I think Luca would have done similar numbers, but honestly, I think people are just kind of over Pixar, because Pixar hyped itself up to be this massive studio with stuff like Ratatouille and The Incredibles and WALL-E and Up. But, like, they're not there anymore, okay? Hoppers is probably the best that we're going to get for a long, 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 long time, because we don't get good movies anymore, unfortunately. And this is probably the best that we're going to get. So if this is the best we're going to get, I should say, I'm going to be fairly happy. Like, we could get like 2 of these a year. I'd be okay with that. Or hell, just make 1 of these a year. 1 Hopper tier a year. I'd be okay. I'd be like, okay, yeah, it came out. It was pretty good. I'll probably watch it again. I will watch this when it comes back on streaming, and that'll be cool. But, I mean, it's not amazing. It didn't blow me away. And honestly, all the stuff with the different Animal Kingdom things was unnecessary and really felt like some suit at Disney was like, you need to make something so that I can make toys out of this. And that did not work at all in the narrative, and it didn't work with toys. Like, come on, man. Look at this beaver. Look at this beaver right here. That beaver, you can make a toy out of that beaver. Come on. How is that hard? Anyway, the last movie that I'm going to touch on, because I'm not going to actually talk about it, and I kind of previewed it a second ago because I didn't turn my previews off of my tabs, but yeah, it's The Bride. This movie fucking sucked, dude. And the real problem that I'm going to have with this movie is that I was expecting better, Actually, this kind of works as a bookend. I just realized that I started off with a Mummy adaptation, and now I'm doing a Frankenstein adaptation. That's funny. But no, this movie fucking sucked. Like, I will watch Lee Cronin's The Mummy every day. If I ever have to watch this movie again, which I'm going to have to watch it because I'm going to have to do an actual review of it. I'm going to do Housemaid and The Bride back-to-back comparison review to do a feminist shill slop fucking video that I'm not looking forward to. Anyway, this movie sucks. You already know it sucks. You have already formed an opinion on this movie if you are part of the YouTube space. And really, what I find most disappointing is that all of the marketing around this did not lead me to believe it was going to be a steaming pile of shit. And the first 45 minutes of this movie did not lead me to believe that this was going to be a steaming pile of shit. But then all of a sudden it's like, we're going to be a musical. And then, oh no, we're going to be a feminist propaganda movie like Barbie. But then, oh no, everything is going to be determined based on how a man feels about it, which is so anti-feminist. It's fucking crazy, which, like, I think if a man had stepped in and said, Maggie Gyllenhaal, you're doing this wrong, the movie would have turned out better. But that's it. There's a full review in the works for this. Every time I think about it, I get pissed off, and I don't have time to be as pissed off as the bride makes me. So, like, yeah, be on the lookout for the video whenever that drops at some point in the next 3.5 decades. But yeah, do not fucking watch The Bride. Don't give it any money, which you already didn't do because this movie tanked at the fucking box office, and I love it. Yeah, I think that I'll just leave it here today because I am tired. My voice is broken. I'm running out of brain power to do things. And yeah, so if you liked me rambling incoherently about movies for the last 40-ish minutes, holy shit. But yeah, if you liked that, then show me by leaving a like. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And I'll see you on the next one. Sayonara, bitches.